We'll have some more details flashing on your screen. This is not just for Vodafone, but this is important for such deals.
Yes.
It's going to be probably a landmark decision, Sonia.
Indeed, it is. It will impact a lot of the other taxpayers. It could impact a lot of other high-profile corporate cases as well. So, of course, this is a big positive that's come in for Vodafone. Just to give you a little bit of a background, this is the final order with respect to the Vodafone transfer pricing case at the Bombay High Court. This is to do with the 8,500 crore transfer pricing case, which relates to the sale of the call center business to Hutch. Remember, the ITAT had ruled in December last year that the sale of the call center business is an international transaction and hence subject to the transfer pricing provisions. But now the Bombay High Court has come in and ruled in favor of Vodafone in this case. Menka Doshi joins us now to analyze, of course, this news flow, and we'll get a couple of guests in as well. Menka, over to you.
Well, I'm so sorry to tell you that both of you are absolutely wrong. This is not the final order. Nothing in this country is final till the Supreme Court says it's final. This is the Bombay High Court order. This case in itself is incredibly complex. It involves transfer pricing on two counts, if I remember correctly. The transfer of certain option rights from a Vodafone India affiliate or subsidiary to a Vodafone Mauritius affiliate or subsidiary, and the sale of call centers. We need to see the fine print and get some more detail on the decision to know exactly what the Bombay High Court has said and how and why. But it was both these things that the tax department had made big transfer pricing adjustments to, and hence had arrived at a decision that Vodafone would have to pay a lot more. I think we have Anuradha Dutt with us on the line. Anuradha Dutt is a veteran Vodafone warrior, if I may put it that way, besides being a very well-known tax lawyer. Anuradha, hi, good afternoon. Can you, if you can, explain to us in very, very simple layman language exactly what has gone in favor of Vodafone today? Is it both the call center business and the option rights?
Unfortunately, all I know is that, not unfortunately, fortunately, all I know is that Vodafone's appeal has been allowed, but I do not know the details because it was still being pronounced till a minute ago. In fact, I'm getting calls asking for details, but I do not have the details except that.
But the appeal was for both, right? The transfer pricing adjustment made with regards to the transfer of option rights or call option rights, as well as the transfer pricing adjustment made with regards to the transfer of call centers.
Yes, and there was some IT services adjustments also made, but that our request was to remand that issue back.
Okay.
But otherwise these two, yes.
Anuradha, can you explain to us really what this means, not just for Vodafone? Of course, it's big relief, though there is the ultimate step yet to go, which is the Supreme Court. But will this set big precedent in the, in the tax space, so to speak? Because from what I could understand, some of these situations are fairly unique to Vodafone.
Well, they are unique in the sense that, according to our Supreme Court, had already decided these issues, but the tax office had still come after the Indian company after having lost. And the sale of call center, I think, is an important aspect because that was a sale between two Indian companies, and they were trying to collapse the companies and go, up. So that, I think, would be an important decision.
But that would depend, of course, on the fine print to determine how the High Court has viewed this. Okay, great. I'll just wrap it up really quickly here by asking you that this is a big win. There were a couple of parallel cases going on, so I assume that this, if it goes to the Supreme Court, will be the final round of domestic litigation, if I can put it that way, with regards to the landmark Hutch-Vodafone transaction. And in the overarching issue still is the international arbitration.
Yes, you're right. Only I hope that they don't take it to Supreme Court. But like last time, they accept, because I think the Supreme Court has already decided this issue, and it was an unfair, challenge that tax office again started against the Indian company. But let's see.
But you know that better than I do. They're not going to miss a chance to litigate this any further. So, but it's a good afternoon for you. We'll come back and connect when you have some more details. Thanks very much for joining us, Anuradha. All right, we also have Mr. Tulsi joining us. KTS Tulsi is senior counsel at the Supreme Court. So a quick word in from what you make of what this means for similar high-value transactions.
See, it's a very welcome sign for India, because the Indian business, particularly the investments, won't come if merely because they have coordination office in India, and there is a person who is designated to handle the bank accounts. Yeah, firstly, you are required to have a bank account in India, and then you have to have a controller of those accounts. But that doesn't mean that you become an Indian company. So the judgment earlier was completely flawed, and I think that this will bring a welcome relief to the foreign investment in India. It's a very good sign, and I entirely welcome the judgment because the earlier judgment, to my mind, was incorrect.
So you would expect that this would get further litigated at the Supreme Court?
It will, but then I think that now this judgment will hold the fort.
Okay.
All right, sir. Thanks very much for joining us this afternoon for a quick take. Guys, I'm going to hand it back to you because we really don't have the fine print. We can, sort of go on about this endlessly, but without the fine print, it would be fairly meaningless. So I'll leave it there. It's a big win for Vodafone. But don't forget, Vodafone has many fingers in various litigation pies, if I may call it that. And the overarching one is the international arbitration, which has to do with the very main case, which is the biggest tax demand of them all, which pertains to the actual acquisition of the India business from Hutch. And that we haven't seen any progress on as yet. So, this is very small good news for Vodafone.
Does it set any kind of precedent for the other cases?
To tell. Till you don't see the fine print on what grounds they've determined that the demand made by the tax department does not stand is impossible to tell at this point in time. So we'll leave it there. Go back to markets. We'll come back when we have some.